Alright guys, so today we're going to take a look at a method that I think if applied for 15 minutes a day for a week would enable us to go from not knowing any of the notes on the fretboard to having the whole fretboard memorized, like I say, within a week. So the main thing we need to know first is what the actual notes are in music. Now if you already know this, jump on by about 30 seconds. If not, we've basically got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and if we're dealing in sharps, every letter apart from B and E will have a sharp. If we're dealing in flats, every letter apart from C and F will have a flat. For today's demonstration, I'm going to use sharps just because I think most people are more familiar with them on guitar to begin with. But the first thing we're going to do, just to make sure we've got a full understanding of this, we're basically going to play our E string, we're going to move it one fret at a time and go through those notes. And if we get it right, it should mean that when we hit our fret 12 on the E, we'll be back at E again. Start off with E. E doesn't have a sharp, so we go straight to F, fret 1. Fret 2 is F sharp, fret 3 is G, fret 4 is G sharp, fret 5 is A, 6 is A sharp, 7 B. B doesn't have a sharp, so we go straight to C, that's fret 8. We get C sharp on 9, fret 10 is D, 11 is D sharp, and we know we've done it right because we got to E on our fret 12. So that's kind of I guess a prerequisite. Just having those, you don't have to memorize them, you can write them down if you want to. So the next thing that we're going to do, the method that's going to let us learn this over the course of the week, is we're basically just going to pick one letter. We're going to play it on all 6 strings. I'm going to start with E because that's our easiest one, and what we're going to do, we're just going to work that out. So we're going to start from our open string, count up to where E is, and then we're going to make a note of that. You can write it down. If you want to work this out in real time, hit pause now. Otherwise, those notes, applying that method will give you our open string, or you can play fret 12. That's on our E string. We've got fret 7 on the A, fret 2 on the D, fret 9 on the G, fret 5 on the B, and our open E, and then our 12 again on that high E string there. So those are all our E notes across the fretboard. Again, if you want to write that down and memorize them, that's absolutely fine. It's not cheating to memorize them. All we're doing here is giving ourselves an extra reference point so that then we can use this rather than having to go from the open strings every time. Once we've got to a position where we're comfortable with where all the E notes are, if we want D, for example, we just move back by 2 notes. So that's going to be how we spend our first 5 minutes of this first 15 minutes on the first day. And we're just going to run through those E notes and try and drill that as many times as possible. For the next 5 minutes, we're going to take the letter A. We're going to do exactly the same thing. Again, if you want to work this out in real time, hit pause. Otherwise, the answers that you'll end up with will be fret 5 on our E string, our open A string, or fret 12. Get fret 7 on the D string, fret 2 on the G, 10 on the B, and 5 on our E again. And then for the next 5 minutes, we're just going to drill that again and go through that sequence of 6 notes as many times as possible. Again, if you want to write it down, look at the answers while you're doing it, that's not a problem. For the remaining 5 minutes of the first 15 minutes, we're just going to go back and forth between E and A to really make sure we've got them drilled as much as possible. Day 2 then, we're going to pick 2 more notes. We're going to pick D and G. The reason we're picking D and G is because both of these sit 2 notes behind E and A. So for example, if we need a G note, we find one of the A notes that we know where they are, we move back by 2 notes. So for the first 5 minutes of day 2, we're just going to reiterate on E and A again, make sure we've really got them solidified. Then we're going to look at either our G or our D, whichever you want to do first. And you're going to spend 5 minutes on whichever one you pick. And again, the way I'd recommend doing this time, rather than count from the open strings, is find either the E if you're working on the D notes or the A if you're working on the G notes. Find that, move back by 2. And what you find is it's a much quicker way then, because you're not having to go from the open string every time. Day 3 then, we're going to add in 2 more new notes, and actually at this point it doesn't really matter which notes we pick as long as they're 2 new notes. And what you find is over the course of the week when you do this gets exponentially easier because you get so many more reference points now. So say for example you need a D sharp, we've already done E, we've already done D, so we can either go up 1 fret from D or 1 fret back from E. And sometimes it might be more useful to use one or the other. So for example, if you're on your D string, it makes far more sense to go up from D than it does back from E. But if you're on your E string and we go to fret 12, it makes more sense to go back from our E note. So really what you'll find is, like I say, over the course of that week, this is really going to help you kind of drill where those notes are and just get much more comfortable with the layout of the fretboard. And like I say, I think over the course of the week, if you apply 15 minutes a day to this, you can have that fretboard memorized within the 7 days. Now, if you're interested in seeing how this method can help expand chord knowledge or improvisation and scale knowledge, there'll be 2 videos pop up on screen now, which will take to lessons of those. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.